fenestration down there now?
Just for a view when you're in the basement. You got the exposed rear of the home, which is a full walkout. It was designed for a couple of reasons. One, for the water table. If you take the elevation and walk out at the back of the house, pull it forward, but you're going deeper into the ground, you're at the water table, you're just above the water table. So it's designed to be at that height for multiple reasons, not only for the water table, but also for the accessibility for his mother too.
And I also noticed that you showed divided light on every window except the water side windows.
Well, that's, Arthur's choice was to make the house look in keeping, putting some Jamestown stone in there, putting some shingles, getting the windows to look like a Jamestown house with divided light. But to preserve the view in the rear of the home, which nobody will see from the street, but give him the, the view through the windows, a clear view of the bay and the bridge without having grids in the window. But he wanted to keep the front of the house with those grids, in keeping with the neighborhood. I think Arthur's maybe first choice was to have maybe no grids, but in keeping with the neighborhood, that is something that we all talk about.
Dealing with any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. There's nothing in the plans for the septic, design of the septic system.
Yeah.
We stated it was a 3-bedroom septic system?
3-bedroom septic system.
3-bedroom, is that what you said?
Yes.
I didn't say. It's a 4-bedroom system. You look, I believe you have a copy of the approved system stamped by DEM. Sewage flow, 4 bedrooms, 150 gallons per day, 460 gallons per day, which is shown on sheet 1 of 2.
Okay.
Septic.
It's a 4-bedroom system.
Yes.
I guess the only thing, I'm concerned about the 5 feet, and I guess sometimes we compare things to what we have ourselves. I live in a 2000 and 50-foot, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house with an elevator. And it's, it's a pretty reasonably sized house, and this is 3450. I mean, and you need a 5-foot setback. I mean, that's kind of concerning.
Getting back to, John, getting back to what drives the width of this house. I believe you testified that the living room and the master bedroom don't necessarily have to be that big, but they are the last room you reach when you walk in the house. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But what drives the width of the house as you enter the house? If you could draw the board's attention to the plan.
Well, there's a couple of things. I was part of the negotiation between the neighbors. This house was originally designed at 42 feet, which actually worked a little better, a little more comfortable. But in dealing with the neighbors, the plan was reduced to accommodate the neighbors' concern. Not so much view carded, but distance from the southerly neighborhood. So we took down the house to 38 feet, which created two things. Some odd room shapes that we're trying to work on the inside to get them a little better, more balanced. But that's still ongoing in the interior of the home. On the outside of the home, because of the 2-car garage, there's not much left for frontage of the house. If we take this house and take it further, it's a garage. It's a garage that you're looking at when you're looking down the street, because there's nothing left. That garage is also reduced from a 42-foot house, I believe, another foot. So it's a bare minimum 2-car garage. It's almost inadequate for a 2-car garage. But it'll do because of the size of the house. If you take this proportionately and shrink this house down, it's just basically looking like a garage. Now the original thought, another plan that we had thought was making a real long house to accommodate Arthur and his family. And but in doing that, it extended way deep because the rooms get stacked lengthwise. Instead of 2 by 2, they're 1 at a time. So you're bringing the house a lot farther. The other problem is, because of that, you bring this house any smaller, and you don't want it to look like a garage. House on the water, you don't want it to look like a garage, so you have to put the garage somewhere else, in the back of the house, which is a whole other slew of problems for drainage, runoff, coastal, neighbors not liking driveways going past the house. So we didn't want to enter that. The whole process was based on accommodating neighbors and Arthur's needs. So that's why, I know that the board had mentioned the 5-foot setback as being a concern. Arthur was very happy keeping that house with about a 10-foot setback on each side, centering the house. And I'm sure he'd be happy with that. But in dealing with the neighbors, all these negotiations happen. I know it's really, the board had nothing to do with that, but it's here at this point because of that. And it's not, not necessarily Arthur's choice, the centering of that. But Arthur had certain needs that we tried to accommodate, and we lessened a lot of things. We pushed the house back that was supposed to be parallel to those homes 15 feet away, back toward the street, getting it away from the coastal. And then we shrunk the house down. It was originally actually bigger than 42, but we got to 42, now it's 38.
Well, that's it's an interesting argument. This lot has had restrictions on it, what you can build on it. So, I don't know why you couldn't build a house that fit on the lot, as opposed to trying to, encroaching on the boundaries.
Yeah, but that's inconceivable. We can build a house where we don't need any relief at all. And in the process, we will upset the very people that are most affected by the construction. So if the board doesn't care about the neighbors, I guess that's an okay attitude. But if you want to accommodate them, this is what we ended up with. But what is the board, what should the board be concerned with? We have a use which is approved under the code. Okay, and in my experience with zoning boards, when you're dealing with an approved use, and you're only looking for dimensional relief, and the neighbors are happy with the plan that's presented, what public benefit or health and welfare are you promoting by saying you don't want us to build this house?
Because you're arguing with you.
Okay, but Mark, you're thinking of today and tomorrow and next year,
Yes, sir.
and you're not thinking in terms of 20 years or 30 years, when somebody else is going to live to the north, somebody else is going to live to the south, and if you would come here tonight with the original plan, where you're 10 feet from the north line and 8.5 feet because of the chimney, the fireplace, and 10.5, except for that little area. I think that's much more in keeping with the zoning ordinance and what the purpose of the zoning ordinance is, as opposed to trying to satisfy your neighbor to the south and moving everything another 5 feet to the north.
Well, John Murphy and I committed a colossal error in attempting to negotiate something that was satisfactory to the neighbors then. What I'm understanding is that if we had marched in here with the original plan and the neighbors objected to it, you would have said, tough luck, that's where the house belongs.
You
I
don't know
get that.
That's speculating.
Well, but I have to speculate when I'm giving advice.
But there's many 60-foot wide lots in Jamestown, many, right? Everybody came in with a 60-foot lot and wants 5-foot setback. You know what Jamestown would be like?
I think I've said all that I can say.
Well, you're the one that's making it argument.
Well, yes, and I don't want to keep repeating myself. The issue that you get involved in with these waterfront lots is people are not going to build small houses on these lots.
It's their decision.
So then, well,
It's their decision.
okay, and then you start getting involved in discussions with the neighbors, and you try to make the neighbors happy, and I think we have. And we're at that point. And the people that are affected by this construction have given this a lot of thought. They're very sophisticated people. One's a registered professional engineer, and the other one's a lawyer.
Everybody in
And this
Jamestown is
is what-
affected by it.
Okay.
Everybody.
So, all right, the only other, I just wanted to get Mr. Samik to testify about a survey he did of recent houses built in the neighborhood quickly, and then that's the
Is he a
end.
real estate expert?
Oh, we just got it. Go ahead.
Yes.
Is he a real estate expert?
Yes, I owned a real estate office for 22 years, Lincoln, Rhode Island. And I sell homes, Jamestown, all throughout the state. Were you asking?